All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is daily vlog 2026, number 223. And today, I need my water. Today, we have had some pretty big news coming from the U of Tubes. It was announced, I want to say yesterday, maybe the day before, somewhere around there. It was announced within the past few days that the YouTube Partner Program is changing. Specifically, the eligibility requirements. Now, if you've been watching this channel for a little bit of time, I think back in January, possibly? I don't remember. I think it was in January. It might have been in December, I can't remember, but I announced that my channel had officially qualified for YouTube partner status. I could apply to join the YouTube partner program. And if you don't understand the relevance of that, effectively what that would have meant was I could start earning ad revenue from my videos. Now, it's slightly more complicated than that. Because the partner program includes more than just the ability to monetize your videos. And technically, I already qualify for partial monetization, which is basically I could activate channel... I can't remember what they're called. They're not subscriptions on YouTube, but the channel where you guys can basically subscribe to my channel for money instead of just subscribing for free, and I can offer exclusive content to channel membership, there we go, to channel members, and things like super chats during live streams and stuff like that. So there are ways to monetize this channel already. I haven't applied for any of them. And that is staying the same. That's not changing at all. What is changing is the current requirement for you to be able to apply to become a YouTube partner. It doesn't mean that you're automatically a YouTube partner when this happens. You still have to go through the application process. They still have to actually approve you, and you can still get denied even if you meet these, if other things are going on. But right now, and this will remain the same until the end of January 2027, in order to become a YouTube partner, you need a minimum of 10,000 subscribers, or not 10,000, 1,000 subscribers, of which I have. Thank you very much to all of you that have subscribed. And you need a cumulative amount of views equaling 4,000 hours of view time on your videos in the past 365 days. So in the past year, people have to have watched 4,000 hours of your content. And I achieved both of those. And then Q1 and Q2 of 2027 happened, and I fell like a rock. I don't know what happened in January through April of this year, but nobody watched my videos. Not only did people not watch my videos, but the people that were watching my videos were watching them for a fraction amount of time that they used to be. And so I went from well over 4,000 hours to, I think right now, what am I at right now? I can look. Push the button. So right now I'm on 3,672 qualified watch hours. And and that's high compared to what I have. I've been trending up recently. Like I said, the first 3 or 4 months of this year, I got shadow banned or something. Something happened, and I just lost everything. Yeah. The other thing you can do is you have to have 1,000 subscribers and either 4,000 qualified watch hours or 10 million qualified shorts views. And they made that distinction because there were people that were coming over from TikTok that were putting up these shorts that were getting crazy, crazy views, but they're shorts. They're if all you have on your channel are shorts, you are never going to get 4,000 hours of watched at a time. Like, you need at least a little bit of long form content in order to be able to do that. And 10 million feels like a lot. And it is, don't get me wrong. But with how quick and easy it is to get shorts views when you do them correctly, it's roughly on par with getting 4,000 hours of watch time. It might technically be a little bit easier because if you are really, really good at shorts, or you have an established audience somewhere else, like TikTok or Twitch or something like that, and they just start watching, your shorts, you can rack up that 10 million views pretty impressively. And that 10 million views has to be within, a 90-day period. So it's not 10 million views in a year, it's 10 million views in 3 months. So again, sounds daunting. It's not. If you're at the point where you really should be starting to consider your YouTube channel more of a business than it is a pastime, 10 million hours really isn't that big a deal. The new changes are going to be, basically they're going to double both of those numbers. You now still only need, as far as I have seen, you still only need 1,000 subscribers to qualify. But then you need either 8,000 hours of qualified view time in a year, or 20 million views in the past 90 days on your shorts. And there are quite a few people that are kind of freaking out about this. I've seen a few people going, gosh, this is just going to kill over small creators. It's not. If, first of all, anyone that runs a YouTube channel knows you cannot live off of ad revenue. It's just not possible. Ad revenue is nice and is useful, but you have to augment it with something else. So claiming that small creators are going to be completely screwed over by this and are never going to be able to become full-time creators, it's just not a thing. You can make money off your YouTube channel without making any ad revenue. There's tons and tons of different ways to do it. Tons of significantly more reliable ways. Setting up a Patreon, again, using channel memberships, doing live streams, and getting super chats and stuff like that. Significantly more reliable than ad revenue. Ad revenue fluctuates massively. Every time Hollywood gets upset with YouTube, they find a way to screw over YouTubers by hitting them in the ad revenue. Like, that's just how it works every single time. And then you can start looking into things like sponsorships and affiliate links and stuff like that. Like, there are so many better ways and smarter ways for a YouTuber to start, doing this more professionally as than a hobby. I have an entire series called Turning My Hobby into a Business, where I talk about the finer aspects of this is how you turn this into a business. None of it has anything to do with getting your CPM up. Yeah. What does that mean for this channel? To be perfectly honest, nothing right now. As I mentioned before, I intentionally did not monetize this channel for two reasons. One, because not only am I disabled and on disability, I'm also on Medicare and Medicaid. I get Medicare because of my disability, and I get Medicaid because I'm broke. The government really, really hates when I make any money. Like, for example, I have a Patreon. I don't talk about it on here because I'm not particularly fond of Patreon as a platform. They've done quite a few different things that have kind of rubbed me the wrong way. They've deplatformed people for personal reasons, for political reasons. I'm not a big fan of that. But I've been on there so long that I have been grandfathered in with a better pay split than people that are starting right now. So the reason my Patreon is still active is if I cancel it and then decide that later on my disability isn't as bad as it is, or something happens and this channel becomes massively profitable, and I want to kind of offset the risk of a YouTube channel with something slightly less risky, I would be getting a significantly worse deal than I have now. So I've had a Patreon for years. The actual money that I get, because I had to fill out a form, a written form, because they would not give me something that I could type out, and writing things with this is a pain in the ass. So I had to write down that every month I made roughly 89 cents off of my Patreon. And then I had to declare if I was declaring any business expenses to offset that. I didn't, but I had to write down 89 cents, no expenses, no this, no that, for all 12 months of last year. Because, again, they hate it when I make money. They don't like my Patreon. Again, despite the fact that I made less than $12 last year off of my Patreon, they hate that. They don't want me making money. Despite the fact that in the documents you get when you're first approved for disability, even like me, I am, according to the federal government, I am 100% permanently and total. I have 100% permanent and total disability. Which basically means that not only am I disabled, but according to the government, there's no chance of me becoming not disabled. Again, I am permanently disabled, and I am 100% disabled. So I can't partially work a job with accommodations or something. I am unemployable. And that's all disability is to the government, is can you work a job? So even when you're like me, where they say, yeah, not only are you disabled, you are so disabled that we aren't even going to pretend that something's going to happen in the future that gets you undisabled. There are some people that will be like, well, right now you're disabled, but with proper treatment and things like that, there's a possibility that your disability could lessen to the point where you could actually work a job. I'm not one of those people. The government just said, you're fucked, and left it off. So even with that, you get this little pamphlet that talks about, you and disability. They talk about things like, technically, if I wanted to rejoin the workforce, if I wanted to try working because something changed, I can technically work. I can't remember the number anymore. I believe it's either 6 or 9 months. I can work for a minimum of 6 months, possibly 9 months. I can't remember if that's changed recently, while still collecting my full disability check. Because it can take that long for my disability, or for a disability in general, to kind of act up and get to the point where it's like, well, yes, I could hold being able to hold a job for 6 or 9 months does not mean that you're not disabled. There are a lot of things that disabled people can do for short periods of time that they cannot keep up forever. And defining a disability based on what you can do in the short term is incredibly ableist, first of all. And is also a really, really great way to ruin disabled people's lives and make them significantly worse off than they were before, because they will try their hardest to do what you claim to think they can do, and then that will actually make their disability worse. So that's a thing that I do. I get calls all the time from this thing. It's called something like the Back to Work program or something, where they'll help me get a job so I can save my disability for when I need it. And I'm like, I need it now. I can't work. Please stop calling me. And then they also mention that as someone that's disabled, it doesn't mean that you're not allowed to work. It means that you can't work enough to be able to make a substantial living. And so you are encouraged to do things like volunteering and other things like that, which studies have shown, like, disability is really, really bad on your mental health, because you feel worthless. You feel like you're a burden on society, a burden on your family and your friends. And so simply by having something where you get to feel useful can be incredibly good for your mental health. And it can actually help treat your disability in some specific instances. So they claim, it's like, yeah, we want you to interact with the world. But every year, when I have to prove that I'm still poor, all of that goes out of the window, and they go, we want to know every single penny you've ever made. If you've sniffed money, we want to know about it. And it's always just a pain in the ass. And so, yeah, I decided that because with my upload schedule and my own mental health and stuff like that, there's very little to no chance that I'm going to make any amount of significant money off of my YouTube channel as it is right now. It's going to be pennies on the dollar, you know, just tiny amounts of money. But the government will hate that. So I went, you know what? Till something changes, till I, find a new treatment that actually works, my living situation changes, something to where I might actually be able to commit to this channel. It's just not worth it to join the partner program, despite the fact that there's a lot of benefits to joining the partner program, in addition to being able to get ad revenue. Now, simply because I'm not a YouTube partner does not mean they don't put ads on my videos. They still do that. They just don't pay me for it. So increasing it to 8,000 hours means flat out, I'm not joining the YouTube partner program anytime soon. Like I said, as of right now, I can't even apply because my views dropped over the first 3 to 4 months of the year, and they're just now starting to come back. In order for me to make the new standards, I would have to be averaging somewhere in the neighborhood of like 750 to 800 hours per month of views, of view time, I mean. And that's just not happening. Right now, I think I'm at like 350, 360, which for me is good. And I'm happy with those numbers because they're better than they used to be. But I have no delusions that I'm going to be able to join the YouTube partner program. Like, I would probably need in the neighborhood of like, I don't know, 2,500 to 5,000 subscribers. And I'd be needing to put out more in-depth reviews and stuff like that on a more regular basis for me to be able to qualify for the partner program next February. Again, none of these changes go into effect until next February. With the shorts thing, I have, I think, 2 shorts that exist on this channel. One of them is not technically a short. I didn't upload it as a short. YouTube just decided it was a short because it's a short. And yeah, the other one, I did like a build where I talked about how you could create Link from The Legend of Zelda by using a warlock with the crossbow expertise feat. Effectively, like, that's all you really needed. And then a few Eldritch invocations. Like, you can play Link and get as many attacks as a fighter without ever having to take a level of fighter. So, so yeah, those are my only 2 things. I think in the last 90 days, I've gotten 2 shorts views. Yippee! So that's not going to be a thing. And I'm also not going to fixate on shorts at all. I think shorts are cool. I like watching them. I don't like making them. They're a pain in the ass. So, yeah. So that being said, the changes to this channel are going to be minimum to none. However, it does kind of bring up some interesting ideas as far as how YouTube is doing as a company. If you guys haven't been paying attention, YouTube and Alphabet specifically has been getting into quite a few legal battles. There's been a few antitrust suits that have been filed. I can't remember if any of them were successful or not. I thought there was at least one that was partially successful and then got walked back. But effectively, Alphabet, the parent company of Google, basically owns internet search engines, which is how the vast majority of people get to the internet. So Google effectively owns the internet. Specifically, they own the advertising side of the internet because so many websites and companies and things like that use their ad buying service to place ads on their website, which is how they make money. And once you get to a certain market share, you kind of automatically trigger antitrust investigations and stuff like that. And so that's been happening for Alphabet. I think Meta has had a few lawsuits Meta is the company that owns Facebook and Instagram. They've had a couple lawsuits that I know at least one of them they lost. So, but going back to Alphabet and Google, those lawsuits cost money. Like I said, I believe at least one of them they lost, and they had some penalties and fines and some minor changes that they had to make to how they operate. So that in and of itself costs them money, means they have to cut costs other places. The other thing, the barrier to entry to creating a YouTube channel is infinitesimally lower than it has ever been. Literally anybody can start a YouTube channel now because the camera on your phone is more powerful. The camera on your cheap phone is more powerful than the camera that I started this YouTube channel with. And when I started the YouTube channel, the camera that I purchased was one of the better webcams on the market. It wasn't like a professional, like back then, like the professionals were using SLR cameras, single lens reflecting camera. They're a type of camera. That was the thing that, if you wanted to be a true YouTuber, you had to use an SLR. DSLR specifically, a digital SLR. Yeah, nowadays, half the content on YouTube is done through phones. iPhones, Android phones, stuff like that. Like it's, the cameras on there are crazy. The mics are impressively good. You can do a lot with just your phone. And so what that means, and people, especially during the pandemic, people are watching more and more content. And with how impressively bad Hollywood has been doing with viewership just in general, with a lot of streaming sites kind of hemorrhaging money because people aren't watching these exceptionally poorly written, super CGI focused nonsense. And theaters are not doing particularly well because we keep getting movie after movie that's a box office bomb, with a few rare exceptions being things like Spider-Man Brand New Day is apparently doing exceptionally well. If I remember correctly, I think The Odyssey is doing pretty well too, despite controversy and some pretty poor audience review scores. My understanding is I don't think it's broken $1 billion. But it's in the hundreds of millions, so it looks like it's definitely going to be actually profitable. Which things like Supergirl, massive box office bomb, lost hundreds of millions of dollars on that one. The Superman movie, if I remember correctly, I don't think it was a box office bomb, but it wasn't great. And we've just been seeing bomb after bomb after bomb. So Hollywood is doing really poorly. People aren't watching that. But what they are watching is YouTube, and lots of it. And so if I had to theorize, I think the cost for keeping all these videos online is probably starting to hurt Google pretty bad when they have to pay out anybody that can get, 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. Which, when you're not a channel that's been here for 13 years, isn't the most difficult thing in the world. Like, the age of this channel is definitely hurting it as far as views are concerned, because the algorithm and Google itself has a pretty good idea of what this channel is, or what they believe this channel is. And what they believe this channel is exceptionally niche, and very few people want to watch it. So they won't recommend it. Half the time, I think what was happening during during the first 3 months of the year, I don't think they were sending out my videos to my subscribers, much less to anyone else. And I sure as hell wasn't advertising it, so I wasn't helping in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, if I was to start a new channel, I could probably get 1,000 subscribers pretty quick. And with good quality content, things that are scripted and edited, having intros and stuff like that, which I used to do, I could probably get to current partner status without too much difficulty in like 6 months to a year, maybe, with enough effort and stuff like that, I could probably do that. My brain wouldn't let me, but it's theoretically possible. So I think there's a lot of people in the YouTube Partner Program that are just costing Google money because Google has to pay them for their ad views, but they're not really getting any benefit for Google. And so if I had to take a guess, the reason that they're increasing this and basically creating an additional barrier to entry is, again, ad revenue is something that Google already, like, the amount of money that Google makes off of ads is decided when Google sells the ad space to someone. So it's not like they're paying, people are paying for every view that they get on Google. No. What they do is they pay for a block of ad time, and then Google will tell them how many times people saw their stuff, but that doesn't change how much they pay. The payment is already made. So anytime Google has to pay out ad revenue to a creator, they're just losing money because the money that they have is all the money they're going to make from those ads when they are purchased. Whereas something like channel memberships and super chats and stuff like that, those are things that make Google money as you do them. Google takes, I think it's like a 30% cut of super chats. So anytime you make a super chat, they make money off of it. For channel subscriptions, I believe, I can't remember what the cut is anymore. I think it used to be 30% as well, because people were bragging about the fact that, like, oh, YouTube is so much better for streaming because Google takes less of a cut. And I'm like, no, it's not. Amazon, on Twitch, you will make significantly more money than you will ever make on Google purely for streaming. Google is vastly superior for video on demand stuff. Twitch is vastly superior for streaming, and it's no comparison. So many people that had exclusivity deals with YouTube to stream exclusively on YouTube, the second the deal was over, they immediately went back to Twitch. And a few of them mentioned, yeah, I would not have been able to continue creating content and streaming if I stayed on YouTube. The only reason I was making money was they were paying me to be there. I had an exclusivity contract where they paid me to be there. Were they not paying me, this channel would be dead. You cannot make money exclusively streaming on YouTube. Now that you can dual stream and stuff like that, it's a little bit easier. But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of my theory here is I think Google is starting to see the limits of its profitability. There we go. Profitability. And they're needing to cut costs somewhere. And one of the easier ways is, like I said, getting 1,000 subscribers for a brand new channel, as long as you're putting out decent content, doesn't have to be good content, just has to be decent, is not particularly difficult. If you give yourself, again, somewhere between 6 months to a year, you can do that. And getting 4,000 watch hours, again, is not exceptionally difficult if you're putting out good content that isn't just shorts. Shorts are never going to get you watch time. They're going to get you views. But if you're doing a combination of shorts and longer form content, if most of your videos are in the like 15 to 25 minute range, that tends to be kind of a sweet spot, or sometimes as low as 12 minutes to about like 20 to 25 minutes. It tends to be a sweet spot. And you've got loyal fans, and you put a little bit of effort into it. You advertise on Twitch, maybe on Facebook. That's a bit of a waste of time. Maybe cross-promote with TikTok or something like that. You could probably get into the YouTube Partner Program, like I said, within 6 months to a year, which is not an exorbitant amount of time compared to how long it used to take to get into the Partner Program. And for anyone who doesn't know, I belonged to the Partner Program for years. The requirements for getting in were significantly lower a long time ago. And I actually got kicked out of the Partner Program because they upped what was required to get into the Partner Program, and I no longer qualified, and so they kicked me out. I did this kind of push to try and get enough, I think it was views and subscribers that I needed to get there, and didn't do anything because I just wasn't making good enough content. So yeah, I was a YouTube partner. I got kicked out of the program. I qualified for it again last, early this year, end of last year. Decided not to go through with it, and now 8,000 hours. 8,000 hours requires work. 8,000 hours in a year requires work. Like, it's not something that just about anyone can do if they've got a decent product. You do actually have to put some effort into your channel. You have to have a decent amount of subscribers. You're going to need more than 1,000 subscribers. I will guarantee that. So this barrier to entry, which again is only for ad revenue, the number of views and stuff that you need to be able to start channel memberships and super chats is not changing. And that is actually a good way to start monetizing your channel through memberships and super chats. Those build loyalty significantly better than ad revenue ever will. Yeah. So as far as like my opinions on what's this going to do to small creators, I don't think it's really going to change a whole lot. I think there will be less kind of fly-by-night channels that get monetization status really, really fast. And I don't think that's a particularly bad thing. And I think there will be a few small creators like myself that will see this and will become very disillusioned with YouTube, which is perfectly fine. Again, the reason this channel is not doing better is not because YouTube's keeping me down. It's that damn algorithm. No, it's because I am not putting forth the effort necessary to turn this into a professional channel. Like, that's what it is. The reason I'm not is my health won't allow it. I do not have the physical or mental health that would allow me to put in the amount of time and effort required to change this from a little hobby channel that I use for my own sanity to something that actually makes me money. And I'm perfectly fine with that. But there's a lot of people that have been kind of living under this delusion that as long as I, put a lot of effort in, that means that I am guaranteed to be able to succeed. And that's just not how the real world works. You have to learn about the industry you're going into. You have to do things right, not just do things hard. And I think this will be a bit of a wake up for a few of the more, I don't want to call them delusional, but naive, I guess, small channels, thinking that, well, as soon as I hit partner status, then everything changes. It really doesn't. Again, I was a YouTube partner for a number of years. My channel did not explode as soon as I joined the YouTube partner program. And this was old school YouTube partner program. When YouTube was still small enough that most of the big creators knew each other, at least knew of each other. Whereas nowadays, I remember the last time they did a YouTube rewind, I remember watching it and going, I don't recognize a single person in this rewind aside from, I think they might have had Mr. Beast on there. And he was the only person I recognized, not because I actually watch his content, but because he's exceptionally controversial and keeps showing up in the news. And that was the only person that I recognized. And the vast majority of people in there were people with millions of subscribers. So they were pretty massive creators that I'd never heard of. Whereas go back to like the 2016 YouTube Rewind, I recognized most of the people in there because everybody knew the big channels. YouTube wasn't that large, and now it's massive. And I spend shit tons of time on YouTube. So if I can spend, hours upon hours every day on YouTube, at least on in the background if I'm doing something else, or actively watching YouTube videos, and I don't recognize these people, then no one can. So yeah, interested to hear from you guys. Anyone else have any theories as to why they're increasing the qualifications to get ad revenue? Like I said, I think it's flat out that YouTube is starting to lose money on these small channels because they don't make them that much money in ad revenue, and paying out even the like pennies that they pay out to these channels is still hitting their bottom line, because there are tons of channels that are qualifying for this partner program that really shouldn't, because they don't actually provide any value to YouTube. So yeah, do you guys do you guys have any other ideas on why it might be happening? And do you think this is going to massively change YouTube? Or do you just think it's like, had to happen sometime? Let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, again, that is all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.